Good day, Grangers.
And welcome to the hall.
Welcome back to another episode of the Grange Hall podcast. Today we are we're gonna
Yeah, we're
restart this.
excited. We're excited. We're fine. We're
We're
excited.
gonna keep going. You know what?
Yep.
We are excited to have a great guest on today. I'm very thrilled to have met her just a few weeks ago out at California State Grange's session. So we have with us today Shelby Tucker, who is a member of Ono Grange number 445 in California. Shelby, welcome to the hall.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yay.
So yes, this is great to have you. I love that we are getting to feature more California Grangers.
I know. I was like, I feel like we've talked to a lot of California Grangers recently, which is
I
super cool. Yeah.
love them. Well, Shelby, we want to start. What is your history with the Grange? How did you find your way in? Are you in from birth? What's your story?
Well, yes, I was essentially born into the Grange. My great grandfather was the first executive committee member of our charter, and his wife, my great grandmother, was the first secretary when our charter started in March of 1930. So, yep, 5 generations,
So
and
you
we're
didn't get a
still.
choice.
I didn't, you know,
Wait. You said five?
oh,
I think that's the
I am the fifth
longest.
generation.
I think that's the longest we've had so far. I don't think
So
we've
far,
had
yeah.
anybody that's five generations. That's cool.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yep. My niece, she just became a junior Granger this year, so sixth
Six
generation.
gener Yeah, it's official. That's definitely the longest we've had. Six
That's awesome.
I'm
generations.
pretty proud of the legacy. It's fun.
That's awesome. That's
Should
so
be.
cool.
Yeah.
So what was it
So
like then
go
being
ahead, Phil.
growing up in the Grange, in this legacy family?
Well, it the Grange was just kind of a staple of our community. It had been around forever. I mean, the town of Ono, there was the Ono store across the street, which was like a tavern, cafe, your little podunk hole in the wall, little watering hole. And then you had the fire department across the street, and then you had the Ono Grange. So it's just something I grew up at being there. My grandmother and great grandmother were heavily active in it when I was a child. Um, we didn't have, I think on and off had junior Grangers, but we would always still show up in our 4-H uniform to still serve at things like the old timers dinner. That's a long standing event. So they weren't the charter hasn't always been as active as we are today, but certainly, the administrations throughout the years did keep it going and keep it active. So it just kind of was always there.
Okay, what's an old timers dinner? Is this something that I should know about that is a
Uh,
Grange thing that I don't know about?
So my great grandmother, Mabel Foster, she thought, it'd
Mabel.
be really nice to get all of the friends together that have, aged considerably, but also moved out of the area. So it was the one time a year that it was by invite only. The Grange would put on the dinner, and the old timers would get together and visit with each other once a year. It was just a way to get them together. So
I love that.
they could visit. Yeah.
So people who had moved on and weren't necessarily still living in the area could come. That's very
Yep.
cool.
Yep. Yeah, and there was like a age limit of like 70, but over the years we've kind of dropped that down a bit on,
Old
you
timers.
know,
You
old
mean like
time.
you have
Old.
to be over 70? Is that
I
was the
think now
limit?
it's 60. I think it's 60 now. But yeah.
Okay,
That's cool. I like
awesome.
that. That's a great way of like keeping people connected to the Grange even once they've escaped, moved on.
Oh yeah.
I don't mean like
This
escape the Grange. I mean like escape the communities, whatever it might be.
yes. Yeah,
That's so funny.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
moved away, followed
That's
their
a better word.
grandchildren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So I feel like you probably have a really good knowledge of the history of your local Grange. So we want to hear, I mean, we know that you grew up in the Grange, that your family, was in the Grange. So talk about it was founded in 1930. And
Mhm.
what did it, it was one of the three businesses or the three things in Ono. So what does that look like over the years?
Well, as far as the businesses go, it was that until the Zogg fire hit us in 2020. And there it burnt our hall down. It burnt the Ono store down. It burnt down probably 4 or 5 of the 13 houses that were in the Ono proper, Ono downtown Ono. And so I guess if this is what you're asking, I mean, we've been working our behinds off to get that Grange built so that we can kind of bring back the life to Ono because we were the lifeblood before and we have every intention of carrying that out. So that's kind of
Wow.
what it's looked like for the last 4 years, anyways.
And was this pre-COVID, during COVID?
It was in 2020, so March,
Yeah, March is, yeah, it's kind of when it happened. Yeah.
and then we couldn't have our meetings and couldn't have our Ono socials once a month, which there was no occasion. We would just get together and just visit. And then the fire happened at the end of September of 2020. So
Oh, wow. Yeah. So high COVID times.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it was rough.
And so now you've spent the last 4 years rebuilding. What does that look
Yes.
like? Yeah. What's that look like? That's
There's
got
a
to be
light at the end
amazing.
of the tunnel.
It is. I
There
know
is.
I've been following this story for 4 years, and it's so exciting that you
It
guys
is.
are coming back.
Yes, we are looking at, well, we confirmed with our worthy president, Joseph Stefanoni, that he is available for our hall dedication December 14th. So we hope to get our final inspection the middle of November.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, we're like really on the precipice because it's October 15th right now. I don't know when this one's going to release, but right today where we sit is October 15th. So we're very close to that. That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And the rebuild committee has met every single Friday for the last 2.5, 3 years. It's
That's
crazy.
gonna.
I'm gonna miss those meetings.
You can keep them going. You just turn them into socials.
That's true.
It
Yes.
just becomes a social hour. Let's
Coffee corner.
gotta love it. And there's still, I'm sure there's still work to be done once the hall is
Yes.
open and dedicated. And
Yeah.
oh,
Yes.
so what are some of the things over the past, almost 100 years of history
Mm.
that you've had that you're looking forward to being able to do again
Mm.
now that you have the hall back, now that you have a place that is your own? I know that you had a lot of things in the bank that you were known for and that you did. So what are some of those things that you're ready to
Oh,
Ono proud about again?
yes. We've never stopped the Ono Cowboy Santa. So that's gonna keep
Oh,
happening.
okay. Give me
A
more
secret way.
information. The Ono
Our
Cowboy Santa. I gotta
yes.
know.
He rides in on a horse every year across the plains of Ono and delivers stockings to all of the children. It's the most
Yes,
magical
he
thing you've ever
does.
seen. Yeah. I get excited every year. I will scan that horizon and as soon as I see Santa, I'm like, there's Santa.
Ah,
Get all the kids riled up and I cry and it's amazing. Yes. So that's exciting always. But we have our pre-hunt dances that we will do right before, kind of in between archery and rifle season. That was an old time thing. And as I was growing up, there weren't the pre-hunt dances, but then they kind of got brought back around 2017 or 18. We started throwing those again. And it was really cool to see the community come out and say, I really loved these events, back in the 70s and 80s. And so that's pretty exciting. Um, we're really looking forward to being able to bring some new stuff in that our hall couldn't provide the space to do so before the fire. So we're excited to be a Red Cross evacuation center and a distribution center for, some, veggies and whatnot for low income and seniors. So there's just a slew of things that we're so excited to bring back.
That's awesome. So I am a member of a Grange that has an actual hall. And I think we're pretty typical in that we have like a little vestibule that opens up into the main hall, and then with the kitchen dining room off to the side. So let me ask you, when you rebuilt, did you guys follow that pattern? No, I
We
would love to.
wanted to.
Okay, okay.
Let me just
But
say this. Shasta County is the fifth hardest county to build in California, and California is the hardest state to
yeah,
build in the
yeah.
nation. So technically, we are the fifth hardest county to build in the United States. And going through codes and all of that ADA and clearances,
Yeah.
it was a task. So our bathrooms are ADA compliant, but they also take up a lot more room than they used to.
Yeah.
Therefore, we didn't have really any room for our dining room. So we've got a big commercial kitchen now that we can rent out for just commercial kitchen stuff. But
Mm.
we're gonna have to dine in the hall, but it's beautiful. It's
Did you
really
That's
keep the
beautiful.
awesome.
same, did you have to keep the same footprint of the former building, or I've
Ish.
seen, I was going to say I've seen pictures that it looks very similar from the outside at least. I haven't seen really on the
Yes.
inside.
Yeah, we did
So you're
stick with the color, the same color.
okay. Okay.
Although it used to be bright red and it faded to like a terracotta red. So when we painted it bright red, everyone was like, what is going on? We're like, it used to be that color. It did.
It's, I
Yeah.
could, yeah, hearing about, Shasta County being so hard to rebuild, and I know like the Ono store is not coming back, uh,
No.
from what I've been able to read about them. So how are you going to help rebuild that feeling of community that you once had with those, the fire hall, the store, the Grange Hall? So how are you going to bring people back in? What's the clincher there?
So what we're all thinking is we want the Grange to be a place for everyone, right? And so before we wouldn't really gather in the morning for coffee. We would throw, a handful of great parties a year. But we want to be able to open up for, okay, maybe the junior Grangers do some baked goods and offer those as a fundraiser at a coffee corner. And those who don't drink and party, they can come through once a week and read the newspaper. Maybe do a knitting quilting circle, maybe at the coffee corner. We've got a lot of people in our community that are standing up for political injustices within Shasta County. Just, we the people are tired of what's happening in Shasta County. Myself and our president, Katie Gertler, really want to start to get a community in action group together and talk about what's going on at our board of supervisors meetings. Like, we want to have just these events throughout the month where anyone who might be interested in anything can come through. I'm going to put out some more polls on our Facebook page on, what do you want to see us have, and what do you want us to offer? So we're just kind of trying some stuff out now.
Yeah, you've really reached a point, I think, where while you have the legacy of who you were and who you are, you've also, not that in any way the Zogg Fire was a blessing. I know how devastating it
Catastrophe.
was,
That's what
but
we
you
call
have the
these things.
opportunity to
Yes.
reinvent as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, our foundation was crumbling before.
Yeah.
Were fundraising for 10 years to try to get a new foundation under that building. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So,
There's
Well,
another Grange called Phoenix Grange that literally is built on the site of their former Grange Hall, because it literally rebuilt
sure.
out of their own ashes. And so I think that's
Wow.
a really cool way for you to think of yourselves too, is that you're able to bring something new back in.
Yeah.
absolutely. Yep. We're counting
Well, and
on
I
it.
think I think that's amazing. So would you categorize yourselves as a rural Grange? Is it very rural? I don't know anything about
Very rural.
the area.
We're about 30 minutes west into the foothill mountains of Redding.
Oh yeah.
So
I
it
know where
doesn't,
Reading
you
is.
don't quite go to 299 to Weaverville, but you head even though southwestern Shasta County.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys probably will be one of the very few things in that area moving forward, so that your community needs you. Like, how amazing that you were able to rebuild and put the Grange back in the place, and be the center of the community like it once was. That's great.
Absolutely. And the new 2024 National Grange emblem, the tree of life with the
Yes.
resilience.
Yes.
I mean,
Way to
that
go,
is,
Phil. What a great
yeah,
idea, Phil.
it is so fitting for us too. I mean, we've been living that for 4 years now. I mean, it's just
Hmm.
perfect.
So
It's what we
cool.
go
You
for.
yeah, you have the roots, you have the resilience.
Yeah.
So it's so cool. I'm so excited for you guys. I know we talked a little
Yeah.
bit while I was out in California about, and many other members about, your rededication, your grand reopening. And I'm just, I'm thrilled that you never let it stop you guys from doing the work.
Never. I
So
don't
let
think
me
I
ask
had
you
a
that
choice.
question. What were you guys doing when you didn't have a
Okay.
building? But we didn't
We,
talk about that. We just
yeah.
know you didn't have a building. We didn't talk about what you were doing while you didn't have a building.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've had to put off most events except for the Ono Cowboy Santa. But every month the church has opened its doors
Mm,
for us, and we meet every month in the meeting hall. Our junior Grangers, they have to meet at different houses or in fields with their animals, and we just kind of bounce from house to house. We have kind of we've been unhoused for a minute, but
yeah.
we're getting there. We're completing business, and I'm so proud of all of our members for being just so diligent and sticking through and seeing a vision that we all have, and just you know being up for the task.
That's so cool.
Amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
So then let's jump into, the big picture question. What's next? What's for Ono, for National Grange, what are your hopes and dreams for the next 5, 10, 20, 50 years?
And how do you see the Grange sustaining itself? Like, I
Yeah.
think that's a big question that
Yeah.
I want people to, talk about is like, how do you see the Grange keeping alive for the next 100 years?
Yeah.
Right. Well, when we built the Grange, we also built it to market it as a beautiful wedding venue. And so we kept it at a moderate, we're keeping it at a moderate rate, we're not near as many commodities as even Stephen Palace on the other side of Reading. And so, but there's a lot of people who got married in the old Grange Hall, and that's a beautiful thing and memory for them. So we want to be able to still have that. And that's going to be our big money maker. We're also wanting to do workshops and classes. We've got a lot of different people here in our community that know, leather working, silversmithing, tanning hides, and traditional medicine and canning and all of this stuff that we want to just get out to the community and offer it at a reasonable rate. Aside from that, our dance has always sustained us really well, and a lot of people come out just to have fun. Again, we keep it moderately priced where we're still making a little bit so we can still continue, but we're not breaking anyone's wallet. So there's just there's just so much that we're also excited to do that we couldn't do before. So oh, another thing, I don't know if you guys like football. I love football. But we're
Yeah.
gonna like maybe do some Sunday football gatherings there, and do some, fried onion rings, and you know,
So
So fun.
yeah, and that really drives. I think a lot of people think of the Grange as the domestic place, and
Mm.
I really love that you're kind of opening it up to, what? It's for the bros too.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, absolutely.
don't laugh at me, Megan.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm not laughing. I went all blurry too. Like, I'm really not laughing at you.
Oh my God, what happened there?
My
Well,
camera's like, no, you won't. No, you won't laugh at Phil.
Jesus.
well, yeah, we just want to have something for everyone, even the bros.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well,
That's
and I just think it's great that it's like, I mean, you really have like revitalized yourself into the community, the center of the community again, which is, I think that's vital. I think that's what the green should be. So
right.
that's it. Yeah, just congratulations. And just, from like a larger perspective, like how do you see us driving the Grange forward into the future? I mean, and from a big picture.
You know, from someone who's gone to annual sessions a couple times now, I went in 2019 in Rincon Valley. And then, of course, this last year, I really want to open up more the more minds to the legislative process that happens. I really want to encourage our members to really stand up and say, "Hey, if you don't like something happening, let's do something," because that's what we're here for. That's what our state officers are there to assist with. And that's really the roots of this organization. And I don't think a lot of members really know about it. And so, as part of, well, I got elected as a lady assistant steward for the California State Grange session. And
Congratulations.
thank you. And the president, Joseph, he's like, well, one of my things I really want you to do is, you're going to get a handful of Granges and you're going to mentor them and help Brother Shaw over there in Trinity County help reorganize. And that's one thing I really want to make apparent to our members who don't attend these sessions and don't see the legislative processes that happen, that this is something that everyone has a voice in.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
really liked the way that you jumped into the legislative process this year. I happened to be sitting beside Shelby for a large portion of the California session, and it was just so cool to see your questions, the questions that even you have as a long-standing Grange member about the process and about what's next and how do we fix this, and if we want to propose this, what do we need to do? And I really like that your curiosity allowed you to open up more and just to see that in person, and then that you're already wanting to get other people involved in that is really cool, because
Yeah.
that is our cornerstone.
Yeah. Well, and one thing that really stood out to me, I've been a Granger my whole life, but I'm also Native American. And so you think about the cowboys and the Indians, I'm sitting here going, a walking contradiction. This is rough. But to look through our legislative handbook and see how many um different things, different resolutions actually support the tribes throughout California was like my heart beams thinking about that.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
so
amazing.
that really got me excited to just shout from the top of the world, like look at what the Grange can do.
Right.
It's just two worlds that's pretty amazing to me. Yeah.
Oh, you just got my head spinning because I
I
love
was
that.
like, Phil, you have something to say. You have
I
something
do
to
well.
say.
So I've always considered myself a big nerd because I love the resolution process.
I'm
Okay, for
sorry,
a lot of
what?
reasons. Okay, but
I'm a legal nerd too. I like it too.
I
Like, don't
love
get me
that.
wrong.
But
My
like, so,
first state session, I was like, yes, let's do
right.
this. Let's vote. Like,
Unfortunately, so many people, my age and younger, that's not what's drawing them in. But I think
right.
it is the way, in our tense and divisive political spectrum that we're in, that the Grange is still a bastion of sane conversations. There were some tough conversations in California this year. And the fact that people were able to voice their opinions in a respectful manner and walk
Yes.
away and still laugh and sit down to dinner together was fantastic. And I think it's that balance of knowing who we are and being able to speak for the things that we believe in and the things that our Grange believes in, and still enjoying the fellowship and having a respectful conversation is
Yep.
incredible, because there aren't many organizations. I've seen churches that can't manage that.
Yep.
Like, it's
Well, and you can have differing opinions. Like, that's the thing, is you can sit in complete differing opinions and yet still have the discourse, which was the part that I really enjoyed too, is it's like I can stand up and I can say my piece and I can have my piece to say, and you can disagree with me, and that's fine, but we can still have a conversation, we can still laugh about it, we can still, have the fellowship afterwards too. So, and it is something that doesn't happen a lot of other places. So it's very
And
cool.
what did Joseph say? The Grange is completely political, but absolutely bipartisan.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. We need to write that down.
I
Thanks,
would change it
Joe.
to non-partisan, not partisan.
Nonpartisan,
Nonpartisan.
sorry.
Yeah.
But no,
Nonpartisan.
but
Yeah.
it's exactly, we are a political force, but we don't take sides on people. We don't
Right.
take sides on parties. We take sides on issues.
Issues. Yeah. Which,
And the
and
need.
we're fighting for the issues that are, are for the, that are
Right.
in the forefront of the Grange, rural issues especially, which I think is the most appropriate thing, but it has nothing to do with party lines. And like we can look at rural mental health. I mean, like the fact that that's like one of the National Grange's biggest
Mhm.
advocacies is the rural mental health space. It's like that has nothing to do with what party you belong to. You know what I mean? Like that's just, it's just important. It's important for humankind. So yeah.
I'm glad you
Well,
brought that up, Megan, because that's one thing that I plan on bringing to our Ono Grange is the rural minds. I've talked with Jeff at National Convention in
Yes.
22, and he said, just call me when you're ready and we'll set you up. And I want
Yep.
to kind of mold it with the Red Roads. It's like the AA, Native American AA, and kind of
Very cool.
mix it in there.
Very cool. I love it.
Yep.
Wow. Well, I'm super impressed, Shelby. Like, I think you've got a lot going on. I'm so excited to hear about the Ono Grange and the fact that you guys rebuilt. Like, I had no idea, obviously, that any of this was going
I
on.
like
So
knowing this
go.
stuff before Megan does because I like surprising her on the podcast.
He's
I
like, surprise.
surprised they have a tragic story, but it's all good.
That
It's all
is so
good.
good.
You rise above. Yeah, we've
Okay.
got a website and we've got a
Mhm.
Facebook, so
The
Yeah,
history of Ono Grange, literally written by Shelby Tucker.
that's awesome.
which were so most of my words. My grandmother was the historian of the communities. I found that actually handwritten. I said, "Oh, I got to type this up."
Yeah. But
So
just to have
Shelby,
that, I mean, to have that history is amazing. So yeah, thank you for doing that work.
Mhm.
if there is one lesson from this whole process that you
Mm.
would like to be able to impart to every other Grange in the country,
Mm, mm.
what is that? What is that soundbite? What is that lesson?
The lesson is never underestimate your ability to tackle hard things. And then
Mm.
when you doubt yourself, don't.
Love it.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna get that
Yeah.
on a shirt. That's a better shirt slogan than whatever we had earlier.
What are we talking about today?
I'm just gonna have a slew of shirts made out of slogans from this podcast.
That's
That's
right. There we
awesome.
go.
I
Yeah,
love it.
Edit
awesome.
Shelby Tucker, October 15, 2024.
15. That's right.
That's wonderful.
Oh, Shelby, this has been great. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
It's a pleasure. It was a pleasure and a joy to meet you in person. And I'm
Yeah.
so glad that we were able to get you on here.
Well,
Yeah.
and I've got to make a trip to go see the Ono Grange. Like,
You're
is
just
that
gonna have to.
again? Phil and I were talking about on the last episode how we were gonna we were gonna buy an RV so that we could go to all the fairs around the Grange fairs around the United States. So we got to make a stop in Ono.
You gotta go
Grange
see the new
Hall.
Van Dusen Grange. You
Yep.
gotta see them open
How
up.
far are
So
you
Okay,
from Van
Phil,
Dusen?
I'm
They're
just
on the
gonna
other
take a
side of
year
Berlin?
off work. We're gonna just do it, okay? No
Yep.
problem. Throw my family in the car with us.
Whew, okay.
can
I'm
you guys
inheriting
are
your
you guys
family for this
are you
road
guys
trip.
able to do the geo granging that Susan Hanks did?
Oh,
I'm sorry,
okay.
what?
Shelby, can you explain GeoGrange to Megan?
Yes. Our wonderful California State Treasurer, Susan Hanks, came up with geogranging. So it's kind of like geocaching, but when you travel around the area, you get certain points for certain things at Granges, whether it's like in front of a sign, take a picture,
Is there an
send it
app? There needs to be an
in. I
app.
don't
Not
know
an
if there's
app
an
yet.
app. It was brand new last.
That's
It was
cool.
whatever road show we went to in maybe June or something.
Geogranging.
It is so fun, you guys. So fun.
I have a GeoGrange point now
I believe
in
it.
California from visiting Bennett Valley when
Yes.
I was out there.
Yep,
I love
yep.
it.
But it's
We need
really
an
cool
app.
because you earn points
We need to
whether
find
you're
somebody who's an
outside.
app. We need to find somebody who's an app developer within the Grange to do a little, just a cute little nothing. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. We need an app.
Okay, I'm writing that
Absolutely.
down.
Make it happen, Phil.
I'll add it to my list.
That's right. No big deal. Somebody just needs to make a GeoGrange app.
Yes.
You know, it wouldn't be terribly hard.
Okay,
I
let's
say as if I'm
not
an
go
app
down that. Let's
developer.
not go down the rabbit hole. Let's not go down the rabbit hole. Come on.
I'll
For
pitch
another
it to somebody.
podcast.
I love it. I love
We
it.
probably will have Susan on at some point to
Yes,
talk about Geo Grange as well.
I think that's great.
For anybody, I believe there's a it was a fellowship first Friday. We don't record those. My bad.
Oh.
Never mind. Just kidding. Well,
More
Shelby,
info to
thank you
come.
again.
That's what we'll do. Okay.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
It's been a great conversation. Congratulations to Ono.
Thanks.
You guys deserve all the praise for putting the work in, for being resilient, for
Yeah.
persevering through all the crap that I know comes with rebuilding.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thanks,
I
guys.
can't wait to see I can't wait to see the pictures from that dedication.
Oh, me too.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm sure it'll be in an issue of Grange Today or
absolutely.
Good Day, so
Oh, that'd be fun. All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time
At the hall.
The Grange Hall podcast is a production of the National Grange, all rights reserved. If you have comments or questions, or if you'd like to recommend a member of your Grange to be featured, you can contact us at grangehallpod@gmail.com.